There's a reason why it feels like you're constantly weighed down. Why no matter how much you try to rise, there's this invisible force pulling you back. And if you're listening to this, I want you to know that this is no accident. You are one of the chosen ones, or at least someone destined to awaken to a higher purpose. That's why you've always felt different, why you've struggled to fit into societal molds, why you've experienced hardships far deeper than most people around you. But here's the thing, being chosen doesn't mean the path is easy. In fact, it's the opposite. The higher your purpose, the greater the resistance you'll face. And this resistance often takes the form of negative energy. But what is negative energy really? Is it some external force? Is it internal? Is it something emotional, spiritual, or even physical? The truth is, it's all of the above, and if left unchecked, it can stop you from accessing your natural state, a high vibrational state where you feel aligned, connected, and powerful. Negative energy acts like a fog, clouding your vision and dulling your inner light. It can take on many forms: self-doubt, fear, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, societal pressures, or even energetic imprints from past trauma. And its sole purpose is to keep you small, to keep you disconnected from the infinite power of your higher self. But here's the question we need to ask ourselves: why does this negative energy target chosen ones so intensely? Why does it feel like no matter how much progress you make, you're always being tested? The answer is simple but profound: because the stakes are higher for you. When you step into a high vibrational state, you radiate light. And that light doesn't just change you, it changes the people around you, the world around you. But before you can do that, you must first overcome the resistance. The forces of negativity, whether they come from within or outside of you, are there to test your strength. They are there to prepare you for the responsibility that comes with accessing a higher vibrational state. They are not just obstacles, they are your training ground.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
So let's break this down. Let's go deep into the mechanics of how negative energy works, how it infiltrates your life, and, most importantly, how you can overcome it. And as we go through this, I want you to reflect on your own life. Think about the patterns, the struggles, the moments where it felt like you were on the brink of something great, only to be pulled back. What was the force holding you back? What did it look like? What did it feel like? And most importantly, what did it teach you? Negative energy often begins with the mind. Your thoughts are like seeds, and whatever you plant, whether positive or negative, will grow. The problem is that most of us have been conditioned to plant seeds of fear, doubt, and limitation. So think about it. How often do you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not enough. I'm not ready. What if I fail?" These thoughts may seem harmless at first, but they're not. They're the foundation of negative energy. They lower your vibration and create a reality that aligns with those fears. And here's the part that's hard to accept. Every time you entertain those thoughts, you're giving that negative energy permission to stay. But it doesn't stop there. Negative energy is a master of disguise. It uses external forces to validate your internal fears. Have you ever noticed that when you're in a low vibrational state, everything seems to go wrong? You attract toxic people, situations that drain you, and circumstances that reinforce your doubts. This is because negative energy operates on the principle of resonance. Like attracts like. When you're vibrating at a low frequency, you attract more of the same. It becomes a cycle, a self-fulfilling prophecy. And if you're not aware of it, you'll start to believe that this is just how life is. But here's the truth. Life is not happening to you. It's happening through you. Negative energy only has power over you if you allow it to. The moment you take responsibility for your vibration, everything changes. But responsibility doesn't mean blame. It's not about beating yourself up for the times you've fallen into negativity. It's about recognizing that you have the power to shift your energy no matter how far you've fallen. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not just happy, but alive when your heart was on fire, when you felt so connected to yourself, the universe, and your purpose that nothing could shake you. That feeling is your natural state. That's what it feels like to be in a high vibrational state. But negative energy robs you of that. It keeps you in survival mode, where you're constantly reacting to life instead of creating it. So how do we break free from this cycle? How do we rise above the negative energy that seeks to keep us small? The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you're not aware of. Start paying attention to the energy in your life. What thoughts dominate your mind? Who do you surround yourself with? How do you spend your time? Every choice you make either raises or lowers your vibration. Every thought, every word, every action, it all matters. So ask yourself, what am I feeding my soul? Next, we must address the external sources of negative energy. Let's get real for a moment. How many of us are holding on to relationships, environments, or habits that we know are toxic? Why do we do this? Why do we cling to what we know is hurting us? The answer is fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of loneliness, fear of change. But here's the harsh truth. You cannot access a high vibrational state while holding on to what is weighing you down. You must be willing to let go. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it hurts. But on the other side of that pain is freedom. On the other side is the life you were meant to live. And then there's the internal work. Negative energy thrives on unhealed wounds. It feeds on your insecurities, your doubts, your fears. That's why healing is essential. You must be willing to face the parts of yourself that you've been avoiding, the parts that feel broken, unworthy, or unloved. Because those parts are not your enemy, they are your gateway to growth. Healing doesn't mean fixing yourself. It means loving yourself enough to release what no longer serves you. But let me warn you, it's not a one-time process. Negative energy doesn't just disappear overnight. It's a constant battle, a daily choice. But every time you choose love over fear, faith over doubt, and courage over comfort, you weaken its grip. Every time you raise your vibration, even just a little, you reclaim a piece of your power. So let me leave you with this question. What are you willing to let go of to access the life you were meant to live? What belief, habit, or relationship are you ready to release so that you can step into your true power? Because that's the key to overcoming negative energy. It's not just about fighting it, it's about rising above it. It's about choosing moment by moment to align with your higher self, no matter how hard it feels. Now that we've begun to understand how negative energy operates, it's time to look deeper, because the most dangerous thing about negative energy isn't its presence. It's the fact that it often goes unnoticed. It hides in plain sight, disguising itself as normal thoughts, emotions, and habits. It weaves itself into the fabric of your daily life, whispering in the back of your mind, influencing your decisions, and keeping you trapped without you even realizing it. So let me ask you, what if the very things you think are just part of life are actually the barriers holding you back from your highest vibrational state? What if the voices of doubt in your head aren't yours at all? What if the energy you've come to accept as normal is anything but? Negative energy is subtle, and that's what makes it so powerful. It doesn't always come at you like a storm. Sometimes it's the quiet, unassuming drizzle that slowly erodes your foundation over time. It shows up as procrastination, as perfectionism, as overthinking. It convinces you to settle for less, to stay comfortable, to avoid the hard work of transformation. And before you know it, it has built a wall between you and your higher self, a wall so familiar that you forget it's even there. But where does this silent sabotage come from? The answer isn't simple. Negative energy can be inherited, absorbed, or created. Some of it comes from your environment, the people you interact with, the media you consume, the places you spend your time. Energy is contagious, and when you're surrounded by negativity, it seeps into your own vibration. This is why we must be mindful of the company we keep. Ask yourself, who do I spend the most time with? Do these people lift me up or do they drain me? Because the truth is, you cannot maintain a high vibrational state while constantly exposing yourself to low vibrational energy. It's like trying to stay dry while standing in the rain. But external sources are only part of the story. Negative energy also comes from within. It's the result of unprocessed emotions, unresolved trauma, and limiting beliefs. These are the shadows you carry, the parts of yourself that you've buried because they're too painful to face. And here's the paradox: the more you avoid them, the more power they have over you. Negative energy thrives in the dark, and it feeds on your resistance. That's why healing is so critical. The wounds you ignore don't go away, they fester. They manifest as fear, anger, self-doubt, all the things that block you from accessing your higher vibration. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're carrying a backpack. Every time you experience pain, disappointment, or rejection, you add a stone to that backpack. At first, the weight is manageable. You tell yourself it's no big deal. But over time, the backpack gets heavier. You start to feel tired, but you can't figure out why. You've grown so used to the weight that you don't even realize you're carrying it. This is how unprocessed negative energy works. It builds up over time, and unless you consciously release it, it will continue to weigh you down. But here's the thing, releasing negative energy isn't just about healing the past. It's also about protecting your energy in the present. Every day you are bombarded with influences that can either raise or lower your vibration. Social media, for example, is one of the biggest culprits. How often do you scroll through your feed, comparing your life to the highlight reels of others? How often do you absorb the negativity of the news, the chaos of the world, the drama of other people's lives? These things may seem harmless, but they're not. They're energetic toxins, and if you're not careful, they can accumulate and drag you down. The good news is that you have the power to protect your energy, but it requires awareness and intention. You must become the gatekeeper of your vibration, deciding what you allow into your energetic field. This means setting boundaries not just with people, but with habits, environments, and even your own thoughts. It means being mindful of what you consume, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Ask yourself, does this nourish my soul or does it deplete me? Does this raise my vibration or does it lower it? And then there's the most insidious form of negative energy, the energy you direct at yourself. Think about the way you talk to yourself on a daily basis. Are you kind, compassionate, and encouraging, or are you critical, judgmental, and harsh? Negative self-talk is one of the most potent forms of low vibrational energy, and it's often the hardest to recognize. Why? Because it masquerades as truth. It convinces you that you're not good enough, not ready, not worthy. And the more you believe it, the more it becomes your reality. But here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. You are not the voice in your head that tells you you're unworthy. That voice is a product of conditioning, of past experiences, of societal expectations. It is not the voice of your higher self. And the moment you recognize this, you reclaim your power. You realize that you have a choice. You can choose to reject the negative narrative and replace it with one that aligns with your higher vibration. You can choose to speak to yourself with love, with kindness, with faith. So let me ask you, what story are you telling yourself right now? What beliefs are you holding on to that no longer serve you? What would your life look like if you replaced those limiting beliefs with empowering ones? This is the work of raising your vibration. It's not about ignoring the negativity, It's about confronting it, challenging it, and choosing something better. Negative energy will always try to hide in the shadows of your life, but you don't have to let it stay there. By becoming aware of its presence, by taking responsibility for your energy, and by consciously choosing to align with your higher self, you can break free from its grip. Remember, the power is always within you. You are the creator of your reality, and every moment is an opportunity to rise above the negativity and step into the light. Now that we've uncovered how negative energy hides in plain sight, let's dive even deeper. If you're still here, it's because something inside you knows there's more to this conversation, something powerful, something transformative. What if I told you that negative energy isn't just here to hold you back? What if I told you it's also here to teach you, to sharpen you, and to help you grow? The battle with negative energy is not just a fight to escape its grip, it's an opportunity to evolve into the person you were destined to become. But let's not sugarcoat it. Negative energy can feel suffocating. It can make you question everything you're worth, your purpose, your path. It shows up as fear, doubt, anger, resentment, jealousy, shame. These emotions are heavy, and they pull you out of alignment with your higher self. But here's the catch: these emotions, as painful as they are, carry messages. They are not random, and they are not meaningless. They are signals pointing to the parts of you that are still unhealed, the parts of you that are calling for your attention. Let me ask you, when was the last time you sat with your negative emotions instead of running from them? What happens when you stop trying to numb the pain or distract yourself and instead ask, what is this trying to teach me? This is where the real work begins, because negative energy thrives in avoidance. It loves when you distract yourself with endless scrolling, binge-watching, or busy work. It loves when you suppress your emotions instead of facing them. Why? Because avoidance keeps you stuck. It keeps you in a loop, replaying the same patterns over and over again. But the moment you stop running and start listening, everything changes. Negative energy loses its power when you confront it with awareness. Think of it like this. Imagine you're walking through a dark forest and you hear a growl. Your instinct is to run. But what happens when you turn around and shine a flashlight on the source of that growl? 9 times out of 10, it's not the monster you imagined, it's something smaller, less intimidating, and entirely manageable. This is how negative energy works. When you confront it with courage and curiosity, you realize that it's not as powerful as it seems. So how do we turn negative energy into a tool for transformation? The first step is to change your mindset. Instead of seeing it as the enemy, see it as a teacher. Every time you feel a negative emotion, ask yourself, what is this showing me about myself? What belief is being triggered? What wound is asking to be healed? For example, if you find yourself feeling jealous, instead of shaming yourself for that emotion, ask, what does this jealousy reveal about my unmet desires? What do I believe I'm lacking? And how can I begin to create that for myself? But transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and it requires patience, self-compassion, and commitment. One of the biggest mistakes we make is expecting instant results. We want to heal quickly, to break free from negativity in a single leap. But that's not how it works. Healing is like peeling an onion layer by layer, uncovering deeper truths about yourself. And each layer you peel brings you closer to your essence, to your true, high vibrational self. Here's where it gets interesting. The more you engage with negative energy consciously, the more you realize that it's not here to destroy you, it's here to strengthen you. I think about the process of building muscle. When you lift weights, you're actually breaking down your muscle fibers. It's the repair process that makes them stronger. The same is true for your soul. Negative energy is the resistance, the weight you must lift to grow. Every time you face it, process it, and rise above it, you become stronger. You become more resilient, more aligned, more powerful. Let's get practical. How do you process and transform negative energy in a way that elevates your vibration? Here are 3 steps. The first step is to acknowledge the negative energy without judgment. Too often we label emotions as good or bad, but this creates resistance. What you resist persists. Instead, simply observe your emotions. Say to yourself, I feel angry right now. I feel sad. I feel afraid. Accept these feelings as they are, without trying to push them away or fix them. Acceptance creates space for healing to begin. Once you've acknowledged the emotion, engage with it. Ask it questions. For example, if you're feeling anxious, ask, what am I afraid of? Is this fear based on reality, or is it a projection of past experiences? If you're feeling angry, ask, what boundary has been crossed? What unmet need is this anger pointing to? The key is to approach your emotions with curiosity, not condemnation. Remember, your emotions are messengers, not enemies. After you've gained insight, it's time to release the negative energy. This can be done through physical movement, like yoga, exercise, or through creative expression, like journaling or art. Once the energy is released, reframe the experience. For example, if you've uncovered a limiting belief, replace it with an empowering one. If you've identified a wound, commit to nurturing that part of yourself. The goal is to transform the energy into something that serves your growth. And here's a bonus step: gratitude. This may sound counterintuitive, but one of the most powerful ways to neutralize negative energy is to thank it. Yes, thank it. Say, thank you for showing me what I needed to see. Thank you for helping me grow. Thank you for bringing me closer to my truth. Gratitude shifts your perspective and raises your vibration instantly. Let me ask you, what if every challenge you've faced, every moment of pain was preparing you for something greater? What if the negative energy in your life was not a punishment but an initiation? When you start to see it this way, you reclaim your power. You realize that nothing can truly hold you back except your own resistance to growth. Remember, the battle within is not about eliminating negative energy entirely. It's about learning to work with it, to use it as a stepping stone to your higher self. Every time you choose to face it instead of running, to learn from it instead of avoiding, you rise. And with every rise, you get closer to the high vibrational state that is your birthright. Now we've arrived at the part that matters most: how to rise above negative energy. And, more importantly, sustain your high vibrational state. Because the truth is, accessing a higher vibration isn't a one-time event. It's not something you achieve and then lock into place forever. It's a state of being, a dynamic flow that requires constant alignment, constant awareness, and a deep commitment to your growth. The chosen ones, those of us who feel the pull to rise higher, to awaken, to lead, are held to a higher standard. And with that comes the responsibility of learning how to embody and protect your light, no matter what life throws at you. The first thing we must understand is that a high vibrational state is not about avoiding negativity altogether. Life is dualistic. Day and night, light and shadow, joy and sorrow. This duality is part of the human experience, and to try to bypass it is to deny your own growth. The goal isn't to eliminate negative energy, it's to learn how to move through it without being consumed by it. It's about finding stillness in the chaos, about standing in the storm and knowing you are the calm within it. This is where true mastery begins. Let me ask you something: what does it feel like when you're in your high vibrational state? Maybe you feel light, expansive, connected. Maybe you feel creative, inspired, and full of purpose. Now think of the moments when you've been pulled into lower vibrations. How does that feel? Heavy, stagnant, disconnected. The contrast is stark, isn't it? But here's the key: you can use this contrast as a compass. Every time you feel yourself slipping into negative energy, it's a signal. A reminder to check in with yourself and realign. The greatest tool you have for sustaining your high vibrational state is awareness. Most people live on autopilot, reacting to their environment, their emotions, and the energy around them. But you're being called to something greater. You're being called to live consciously, to become the observer of your own life. This means paying attention to your energy at all times. When you feel a shift, a dip in your vibration, pause. Ask yourself, what triggered this? What story am I telling myself right now? What do I need to let go of to come back into alignment? But awareness alone isn't enough. You must also take action. One of the most powerful ways to keep your vibration high is to create a daily practice that anchors you in alignment. This looks different for everyone, but the core principle is the same. You must make time to connect with your higher self. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, prayer, movement, or simply sitting in silence, this practice is your lifeline. It's the space where you recharge, where you release what doesn't serve you, and where you remember who you truly are. Without this foundation, it's easy to get swept away by the noise of the world. Another vital practice is protecting your energy. High vibrational beings are like magnets for both light and shadow. Your light will inspire and uplift others, but it will also attract those who are drawn to your energy for the wrong reasons, people who may unconsciously drain you or project their negativity onto you. This is why boundaries are non-negotiable. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out, they're about honoring your energy and making sure that what you give comes from a place of overflow, not depletion. Protecting your energy also means being selective about what you consume, be it media, conversations, or environments. Everything carries a vibration, and your vibration is influenced by what you allow into your field. One of the most beautiful aspects of a high vibrational state is that it's self-sustaining. The more you align with it, the more it grows. But here's the paradox: the higher you rise, the more resistance you may face. This isn't to discourage you, it's to prepare you. When you begin to shine brighter, you may notice that certain people, situations, or even your own thoughts try to pull you back down. Why? Because your light exposes what is hidden. It challenges the status quo. It forces both yourself and those around you to confront what is out of alignment. And while this can be uncomfortable, it's also necessary. Growth requires discomfort. Transformation requires truth. So how do you stay anchored when the resistance comes? How do you keep your vibration high when the world feels heavy? The answer is simple: come back to love. Love is the highest vibration there is. It dissolves fear, heals wounds, and bridges the gap between you and your higher self. But this love isn't just about how you feel toward others, it's about how you feel toward yourself. Do you love yourself enough to forgive your mistakes, to release your shame, to honor your boundaries? Do you love yourself enough to choose joy, even when it feels hard? To choose faith, even when the future is unclear? To choose growth, even when it's painful? In the end, negative energy is not your enemy. It's your teacher, your mirror, your catalyst for growth. It's here to show you the parts of yourself that are ready to heal, to release, to transform. And when you rise above it, when you step into your higher vibration, you don't just change yourself, you change the world. Because your light is contagious. Your vibration ripples out, touching everyone and everything around you. So rise, chosen one. The path is not easy, but it is worth it. The resistance is great, but your power is greater. You are here to ascend, to inspire, to lead. And no matter how heavy the energy around you may feel, remember this: you were born to shine. You were born to rise. You were born to access the infinite, high vibrational state that is your true nature.